Welcome everybody to week 4, day 1. We didn't record one last week because we're just working on the projects. I do want to show, at least for the record, how Perforce works. Basically, there's a couple steps that it takes to get Perforce running, and it's annoying. And there's parts of Perforce that are really stupid. Like, I have not accomplished nearly as much as I wanted to do on my project because of Perforce. Specifically because of Perforce. Who am I sharing it with? Myself. I've got one computer here, one computer there. I could have just put it on a USB drive and have been done with it. I spent literally all day Sunday dealing with like Perforce being like, oh, we just need to upload an extra 10 gigs of data. And then I like deleted off my local machine. It's like, oh, you need to re-download the 10 gigs of data. I deleted off the repo. Sorry, you can't delete it off the repo until you download it and put it on your local machine. Then you can delete it off the repo. Then you can delete it off your... And it kept like re-downloading 10 gigs. And every time I do something, it's like, you need 10 gigs. And I renamed a file. And then it's like, you got 2 copies of the file now. And it locks one and it doesn't lock the other. And it wouldn't let me check things in. And so I just kept getting stymied by the fact that some things like deleting and renaming kind of have to be done in the repo first, and it's if you're just used to like being a single player, editing experience, doing things like deleting a folder and renaming a file are just things that are unnaturally complicated if you're using Perforce. So I don't recommend it for a single player experience, although I have to say I'm happy I've gotten the experience with it. So for those of you that do not have Perforce installed, you're going to need to download the P4V client, which is going to look like this. P4V download. There we go. Perforce, by the way, is free for people of teams of 5 and less. And so this is the client that Epic uses for their stuff. And it's sort of the blessed official way of doing source control for Unreal Engine. There's also Git, which Git doesn't really work very well with binary files. So I wouldn't necessarily use Git for it. Git's better for source code and source code control. For big data blobs like what we have here that are gigabytes in size, Perforce really is, I think, the better solution. There's also SVN, which I used to use a lot back in the day, and I recall liking it a lot better than this nonsense with Perforce, but I'm trying to learn Perforce, so there you go. So you're going to download the Helix Visual Client, P4V. So you just, for those of you that are not Aaron that need to install it, you go here, you download Windows, 10, whatever, download it to your machine, and install it. Then when you install it, it's going to ask you for a server, a username, and a password. The username and password are going to be from the invite. So Aaron will have sent you an invite to the project, and you have to go through that invite to make the account. If you try making an account on your own on Assembla, it will not work. So basically, you go here and you say add new team members, and you can punch in different people's names and email addresses and things like that. It sends them an email. You create an account through the thing. They're added to the project. Cool. So the depot here, a depot is the name of the repo, we would say another repository. And basically it's where all the files are stored. So basically I've only added 2 of the folders to the repo. I've added config, which has the settings on it, and I've added the content, which actually has all the data for it, as well as the project file itself. So what happens when I modify something? So let's say that so basically from that website there, there's instructions which Aaron will send out to you guys. Basically there's a URL, copy the URL, and then when you install Perforce, you punch that in as the server, you type in your username as the username, you type in your password as the password, it connects to the depot, you create your own workspace. Just generating your own workspace is fine. It'll download when you hit refresh and get latest, it'll download the repo into that directory, wherever it is. By default, it downloads into some Perforce subdirectory. I changed the let's see, new workspace. So I changed it to my UE4 projects directory, which is where I put all my Unreal Engine stuff. And then the number and stuff like that doesn't matter. The stream is going to be the you click browse here, and it's going to be mainline. So you can have different branches. Mainline is fine. I'm going to pick that. And for the folder, that's good. That's fine there. And then you hit OK. You have to make a workspace once. After that, you can leave it alone. And then you hit get latest. It downloads all the files. You double click on the project file. Boom, you're inside of Unreal Engine. Now you need to hook up your source control. So you go into source control here in Unreal Engine, and you hit change control, source control settings. You have to pick Perforce. Type in that URL again that Aaron gave you, your username, your workspace. If you click on the little drop down here, it'll actually pick your workspace for you. And then it's good. So that connection to source control successful. So you have to have the Perforce client running in the background. You just leave that there. And when everything's working right, you have a little green thing here. This means everything's hunky-dory. If you were to change something, like let's say you wanted to put a cone out into the world like this, cool. I have mine set to automatically check things out. For you, it'll probably say, do you wish to check out the map? And you have to, yes. Okay. And when you check it out, that means nobody else can modify it. So only one person can be modifying the map at a time. So be careful. And if somebody checks it out, you can't do anything about it, right? I mean, not without, talking to them or going to the repo maybe, or cloning it without checking it out. But then you start running into the Perforce nightmare of merge conflicts and things like that. If they add a cone and you add a different cone somewhere else, which one's the authentic version? By default, the person who checked it out owns it, so they can check it back in. But now you've got a version that's got different stuff in it. So how do you merge it together? And the answer is you don't. That's the easiest answer, is that you just don't. You check out their version and you add your stuff to their version. Like copy your stuff, make a duplicate of the project, open it up a second time, copy the stuff over. It's a pain in the ass. I would not do that. If somebody has something checked out, don't try modifying it. So let them check it back in. You can tell them like, hey bro, can you check it back in? I need to add something to it. Okay. So let's see, make a change like that. Like, yeah, let's put that cube back in. Cool. Then I'm gonna hit save. It's gonna save the map. I'm gonna check it out. When you check it out, you're the owner. So make sure you don't leave things checked out too long. And then you can hit submit to source control. So that sends the changes back up to the repository. So when you do that, it checks it back in. Now other people can modify it. Okay. So you have to give a change description, added a cone, and hit submit. And now it is checked back in. I don't own the map anymore. But this is officially in the repository. So there we go. I can make a new file. Like if I wanted to make a blueprint or something like that, I could add it down here. And you'll see, is it freezing? Yeah. The thing will freeze until the upload completes, which is not great user interface. It should have like some sort of like, progress bar or something. There we go. It uploaded. Okay. If you were to make a new thing, like let's say I make a new blueprint class or something like that, then it'll get a little icon next to it that should, like the question mark. Like that's not part of that's not on Perforce yet. So the next time you go to submit to source control, it'll find new assets. Yeah, we need to save this or something. But basically, let's delete this. I don't need it. Yes, delete. Okay. Basically, anything new like that, will appear in a list of things that get submitted to the server, and then boom, they all go into the server together, and then they'll appear on the repo there, and then other people, when they clone it, they get copies of them as well. How do you delete workspaces, by the way? I don't know. Just make a new one if you have to. The workspaces, I guess, aren't. They don't make deleting things easy. Let me put it that way. I ended up deleting the repository twice because it got into this state where like it wouldn't let me check anything out, it wouldn't let me check anything in, and it locked me out of my own directory. So I had to set my directory to readable, and then it deleted my project file. I have no idea how that happened, but my U project file got deleted. Fortunately, I had a backup on my laptop, and so I copied that over. Yeah, it's not good at deleting and renaming things and things like that. So I've just been like leaving it. Just like, no, I'm just not going to delete anything. Just leave it in there, whatever. Say okay. If you have multiple workspaces, then you have multiple workspaces. Just work in one of them. You know, just use that as a default. Ignore the other ones. So, yeah. So let's talk about Niagara a little bit. So Niagara, I think, is a really cool way that you can add special effects to your game and make it look nice and fancy. So we've got here a ball with sparkles on it, and we got a laser beam coming out of it, and when we hit play, you can see over here it's doing a trace line, and where the trace line hits, it draws that sparkle effect. It's not impacting me, that's fine. If I were to drop that box down, it would impact the box. Let's see here. That. And so you can see that the thing is doing that. I'm drawing the trace line, so I can probably turn that off. Laser boy. Sphere. I'll probably disable you as well. Let's see here. Scale. 0.1. 0.1. Packages automatically checked out. Thank you. Save. And then, yeah, the ball's really tiny now. Play. Okay. And then, if we do the trace line here, I will turn off the draw debug. Okay. Compile. Saves automatically because I've configured that way now. Hit play, and so the trace line is now off, and you can see that the trace line is contacting the box. And ooh, the explosions are really tiny now because I scaled the thing down. I scaled it down to 10% size, and so that because these guys are children of it, then they can I unparent it? Nah, I guess not. All right, so let's maybe not scale it down like that. Or if I turn that off, let's make it invisible. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so the sphere is invisible now. So we've got a laser beam and the particle effect coming out from where it hits. So you can make partner is not a Perforce client server. Yeah, let's see here. Let me make. I did change the server, Dolan. Let's see here. Copy. Here you go. That's the one you're using? Nope, it's different. Yeah, I did purge the repository twice. So that's why your link's not working. So if you do that, it'll download a copy of the current thing. So yeah, sorry about that. I talked to Mike yesterday. He's working on models for it. I'm going to end up doing the character modeling, and I'm probably going to use Niagara to do. There's some cool stuff you can do with it. I found a demo on YouTube that I was following along with that for Niagara flame person. I don't remember the name of it. Yeah, this one. So it's pretty cool. Really easy to do too. You can have the particle effects follow a mesh. So you basically have a static mesh, you know, or skeletal mesh in this case, that's a person, and you just have particles come out of it, and you can change the colors and have them rise up and fade and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Pretty easy, actually. And you can use them to do different weapons and things like that as well. So, yeah, I've been playing a lot with this recently, and highly recommend it. It's a real nice system for doing special effects and stuff like that. All right, see you, Betancourt. So yeah, so you can have monsters that are on fire, and it'll just or if you have your creepy monster thing, you can have it glowing, radiating blackness around it or something. You know, things like that will kind of set it apart and make it look pretty cool, I think. I'm doing this for my weapon effect, so when you fire your laser beam, it's going to do one of these things. I'm probably going to play with the impact, so it does more of an explosion when you hit, because it's like a one-time shot, like lasts for like a brief second, and then, whereas this is more like the laser's on and just resulting in sparks coming off or something. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff you can do with Niagara, so highly recommend getting into that. Yeah, so Perforce is pretty important. Niagara is pretty important. Any questions on your end about things you need to get done for the project? Dolan, I'm looking for 2D art from you. So 2D artwork, like we'll have a splash screen when the game begins. Maybe something along the lines of connects on Perforce but not on Unreal. Oh, okay, interesting. Do you have P4V open in the background, Dolan? Do you need buttons and stuff to like load? Yeah. In fact, if you want to do the UMG, Michael Yui actually did a really amazing looking UMG entry screen. That would actually take some load off my plate. So I'm trying to do a lot of stuff right now for it. Yui, would you mind running Dolan through the basics on it offline? Yeah, cool. Or you can run through tutorials on it. He's got a really nice one, and so it would be ideal if when the game launches, it displays some sort of like 2D graphic. I was thinking maybe something like Inner Space, which is an old 80s movie where you like go inside of like a person, travels inside of a person's body. Maybe something like that, or maybe like Ant-Man, any of these Honey, I Shrunk the Kid kind of things. Let's see. Yeah, like this, where it's like a person shrinking or something like that. Something like that would be nice. And so when you launch, it like displays that and gives an intro to the story. This story is basically, there's going to be 5 different mini bosses. I'll tell you the gameplay is. There's going to be 5 different mini bosses that spawn around the map, and they'll be spawning waves of like zombies, but they're not zombies. And you need to kill 5 of them, and then you need to kill the boss. And one player is in the world, which you see here, and one person, it's going to be split screen mode, and then one person is going to be inside the other person and traveling around and healing them and fighting off infections and things like that, which should be kind of a fun, interesting mechanic in the theme of running out of space. So basically it's a tandem fighting effort. In most video games, you have to find health boxes, but in this one, you actually have a person traveling around inside of you, fixing your wounds and energizing your legs so you can run faster, and killing bacteria and stuff like that. So the big person's fighting off the zombies, and the little person is doing damage control. Yeah, it's kind of like, my inspiration for it was those like spaceship simulators where you're like engineering, and like the ship's getting hit, and it's your job to just like reroute power and to fix damage and get the warp cores back online and stuff like that. So I've never seen that done in a first-person shooter before, so it seemed like kind of a cool and interesting and novel concept to have a second-person shooter, or a twin-person shooter, or however you want to put it. It is going to be split screen. The top screen is going to be player 1, the bottom screen is player 2. I was thinking about doing it with networking, but networking adds so much complexity that, and also I can't playtest it, like, right? Like, because I'd have to have 2 different clients connected, which I guess I could do with my laptop, but I was just like, if it's split screen, then I could just launch it, and if nobody's on player 2, then nobody's on player 2, and I can still playtest it, you know? What if the inside guy was an alien symbiote? I love the idea. That's a great idea. I will leave all of the art direction and story up to you, actually. So I'm going to tell. I've told you what the gameplay is like. One person's out front cleaning up zombies. He's got a soul knife and a soul shield. He's like stealing their souls, and he uses that to charge up his soul cannon, which is this thing here. And then he will blast the mini bosses. Once he kills the 5 mini bosses, the big boss will appear. And that's it. The theme, the everything else, I leave in your able hands. Stargate ripoff, that'd be cool. Yeah. 3D modeler needs to work with you on the 2D art concepts. I can tell you what Mike is doing. I met with him last night. He's got like this little plasma laser gun that he's modeled for us, and he's going to come up with like a spear and a shield kind of thing for the person to like steal people's souls and stuff like that. So, and then there's going to be like some sort of energy gun on the inside, and I think that would work fine with a symbiote. Maybe not if you have like tentacles or something. I don't know. A soul stealing spear, yeah. Basically, you're stealing the souls of the zombies and then using that to charge your soul cannon. The premise is the mini bosses are going to be in like inaccessible places, like they're going to be like on the tops of mountains and things like that, so you can't really like walk to them, you know, too easily. And so you have to like kill a bunch of the zombies that spawn in and then like pick the person off. And I'm going to be using ray tracing. So some of the bosses will be like around corners and things like that. So the laser cannon will reflect off a mirror, and so you have to do like trick shots to kill them and things like that too. So, get rid of this, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, that's the basic idea. It's not. I'm not trying to be too ambitious, but even still, it's pretty ambitious, I think. So reminds me of Portal. Yeah, I was looking at doing Portals actually. I don't know. With Splitgate doing Portals right now, it seems like maybe I don't want to rip off, the mechanics, but the notion basically being that I'm using ray tracing because this is a ray traced engine here, and so it'll reflect, like you can actually do true reflections, and it'll reflect the light off things, and then I just have to code the laser gun so that if it hits a surface that is a soul mirror, then it will do a second laser. And I can actually maybe even do like a Hall of Mirrors effect or something like that, where like you shoot and it like travels down like this Hall of Mirrors to like kill the bad guy or something like that, which can be kind of fun. I don't know. Mini Stargates, yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. Portals would be neat. Yeah, I'll think about that. Yeah, but the core mechanic that I want to get working is just having 2 different players in the same game at the same time. There's not going to be extra time. There's 2 days left until the deadline, so I just need to get the core mechanics working. It would be fun to work on actually, though, afterwards, because I've literally never seen that notion of 2 people piloting 1 person before in a first-person shooter. In Age of Empires 2, in the original one, you can have 2 people playing the same civilization, so that like one person can like do SimCity with the economy, and the other person could be like controlling the military and stuff like that. But I've never seen it in a first-person shooter, so I can't believe I spent so much time in Perforce already. Yeah, that was my Sunday, and I'm not super happy on how my time was spent on that. And between that and my laser beam just not working, and I was just sitting there like, how am I a game development professor when I can't get a damn laser beam to work using a tutorial, and the trouble was I set the alpha on it to 0. I'm like it's doing the trace line, the red beam's appearing here, but in the game itself it vanishes. And I was just sat there just like, what is wrong with me? Like, nothing is just working. And it's like, oh, yeah, alpha is set to 0, so it's transparent. Okay, cool. It works. Yeah, it happens. It happens to all of us. So, and one of the worst things about Unreal Engine is that when things fail, a lot of times they just fail silently. And you just don't know why it's wrong. And you just have to start clicking on things. I'm like, is it visible? Yes. Okay, it's set to visible. Is the scaling you down? No. You just start going through everything. Like, all right, what the hell is, why is it appearing here when it's red, but it's not appearing when it's blue? Like, what is going on? So, and why did the sky change colors? That's a weird take there. I've got 2 different suns, but one of them is supposed to be invisible. Yeah. This one's set invisible as well. Huh. Somehow the sky changed colors. Oh, it was probably looking at the other sun. Interesting. Oh, that's why. Yeah. Right now it's set to the sun instead of the debug sun. Okay. Yeah. But why did it switch? Like when I recompiled lighting, that's a weird. I wonder if it like refreshes or something when it does that. That's interesting. Okay. So many debug prints. I know. Like I was printing out the point the trace line was hitting, and I'm like, everything's working. It's just not drawing the line. I'm like Googling like, why do Niagara things not? Why do they draw in the editor but not in the game? And I'm not finding any people with a similar bug. No, it was just because I had the alpha set to 0. That's it. That's all it was. It's just. So yeah, such is life. Yeah, so Mike's gonna get the weapons and stuff to me today. And if you want to work with Michael, and Michael, I appreciate you doing that. It will take a big load off my back. If Steph, so basically make it so when you launch the game, it has a splash screen with like new game and exit and options, and Michael's done all that. He did a really fantastic job. So he can show you the way of doing it. And then when you hit new game, then it drops you into the game, and there you go. So. You could probably just make a new folder called Dalin or something like that, or Waffle Waifu or whatever, and if you want to add that to the repo, it might just add automatically. You might want to just try that, and then let me know when the things are on there, and then I'll refresh the I'll hit refresh, and then it should appear in there if it's in the repo. If not, then what you have to do is you have to click on the folder and click on plus, and that will add it to the repo. And then you hit plus, submit, and then that will add it to the repository. Don't, by the way, don't like check out the entire folder. If you check out the entire folder, you own the entire project, and it will like probably re-download everything. Then when you check it back in, it will probably re-upload everything, and it is complete garbage. So Perforce is not smart when it comes to checking out an entire project. Just don't do it. Just check out just individual files that you need, and it works pretty good. Yeah, it's like land height maps. Like I didn't. Oh, there's nothing in here. I guess you guys don't need that, so I don't need to upload it. Third person blueprint. A lot of these things are not in the repo. It's interesting. I guess I'll just add everything and submit it. Yeah, it's going to add a ton of crap. It's going to add like 10 gigs of crap. Alright, I'll just start uploading it now, I guess. Adding tons of crap. Alright, submit. And, oh, I didn't check most of it. That's why, I guess. So where should you put your folder? Inside of the content directory. So you see where I've got Bill here. Just make it a parallel directory. So there's like a Bill folder and a Dolan folder. And then Mike can do a Mike folder. And he can upload his assets into there. And then we're not really stepping on each other's toes at all. So is there a way for you to look at the world you made to match the colors and themes? Yeah, when you download it, it'll drop you into the world. So you can see what the world looks like. The colors and themes, yeah, so the inner world I haven't worked on at all yet. It's going to be pretty simple. It's just going to be like a blocked out human that you're on the inside of. I'm going to make some sort of like slimy red Venus material that looks like you're kind of inside of a person. Yeah, I'm going to make two different worlds basically. It's going to be the same world, but just a different spawn point, so we don't have to have two different levels loaded. So something like Doom Hell level, something like that, or like not so much fire and lava, more inside of a human, but that's kind of the palette, Don, that I'm going for the second person. And then yeah, I mean, if you don't like blood, then we can make it more clinical, like bone or something like that. If you'd prefer that, we can work with that instead. So have it be something, I don't know. Or it could just be like a very just human shaped cavity that we're inside of. Blood is fine. Okay. And then for the outer world, I can show you the color scheme, which is going to be you. So debug fog. Oops. Off. Debug sun. Switch for visible. There's visible not appearing. Visible. Okay. Visible off. This one visible on. So this is the look that I'm going for on the outer world. You can see it makes a pretty significant difference, the color and tone and palette of the world. So kind of like sunset color. We've got fog here. We've got this like high tech radiating light panel, things like that. So do the 2D graphics need to be a certain file type or size? They need to draw inside of. Yeah, it's not a bad look, and it hides the fact that my landscape is pretty terrible, right? Because I'm really not trying to put that much effort into the landscape. So it just sort of conceals the blemishes, right? Like foundation or something. So yeah, but it's kind of very atmospheric as well. So that's kind of the color palette that I'm going for. Tatooine vibes, yeah. Mm-hmm. Or Dune, maybe. That's a good movie. Hopefully it's a good movie. That kind of yellow, orange, earth tone kind of thing. Yep, so that's kind of the colors. And then the weapons are all kind of like sci-fi / fantasy, soul-stealing, plasma guns, that kind of stuff. So the story, the inside character, if you want to make the inside character a symbiote or whatever, go for it, and then after you get the art done, then let me know. The file type for an image, Yui, do you know off the top of your head like what image file types it works with? I think it's fairly expansive. Drag and drop from Google Images, yeah. No, that's not it. They do work with, let's see here, I can probably figure it out this way. Import file type. BMP, float, JPEG, JPEG, PCX, PNG, Targa, XDR, TIFF. Yeah, so probably GIFs maybe are not supported. GIFs, however you pronounce them. I don't see them on there. Yeah, maybe every file format except GIF, maybe. Kind of looks like. Go. JPEG, yeah. Yep. Okay, all right, sounds good. Duncan, Aaron, Yui, you guys have any further comments or questions? I'm just going to be hacking away at this thing. My daughter too, so it's pretty fun working on a Unreal project with your daughter. I gotta say, it's pretty neat. Okay, all right. So it is due on Thursday, so just stay in touch and get it done. Did she help come up with the premise? That's actually really funny because when I was coming up with the premise was based entirely on inner space because the theme of the game jam was running out of space, and so my mind immediately leapt to Inner Space, this cheesy '80s movie. I had like Kurt Russell in it or something like that. Maybe it was like Stargate. I don't know. Dennis Quaid, Martin Short, and Meg Ryan. Okay, yeah. So that was where the premise came from. But like when it came to like the soul lasers and things like that, I was actually kind of thinking like, I was actually tempted to go like all in on like made by a 9-year-old, idea. Like we can have like dinosaur lasers and like, unicorn hammers and things like that, and just like go all in like the Dino Cop series, if you've ever seen that. So that's why it's like a little bit ridiculous. But that actually wasn't my daughter. She actually probably didn't like the idea. I don't know. I haven't asked her of like a unicorn weapon or something like that. But that was actually kind of where I was coming from on that. Was just like, all right, I'm working with a 9-year-old, so I'm gonna do things that a 9-year-old likes. And she made this, so like a glowing tech wall. So we've got the blue plasma theme going on, and so that's part of it as well, right? This is kind of another part of the color scheme. So like Luke Skywalker, you got your blue laser on a Tatooine surface. So, okay. And so yeah, all right, sounds good, everybody. Dolan, let me know when you've got your heads-up display ready to go, and then we can just talk on Discord or something, and I can work with you to make sure it gets integrated on Perforce, and then I'll. If you need to, you can check out the world blueprint or the player blueprint, the HUD blueprint, to modify that as well. So maybe I'll just notice when all of a sudden it pops up. But yeah, just send me a message, and we can work on integrating everything together. Mike should have most of the stuff done by today, I think. So I'm just going to be hacking on this till midnight. So all right, thanks everyone. It's fun and well done as always. You guys have done some pretty impressive work. So just we're in the final stretch now. Get it all integrated. Get it done.